Hello, my name is Evelyn Dubecki, and today I want to talk about something that, as a woman, is very important to me. Sexual violence, specifically towards women, has been in the forefront of media coverage. High-profile sexual assault cases involving celebrities has brought into focus what many women face daily. My conversation today will focus on bringing attention to the disgusting statistics of sexual violence, the effects it has on victims, the faults in the justice system, and some tragic stories of women who were victims of sexual violence. In order to go more in depth on the topic, we need to understand what sexual violence is. The Ontario government defined it as a broad term that describes any violence, physical or psychological, carried out through sexual means or by targeting sexuality. There are many of what I'm going to call categories of sexual violence. There are more obvious offenses such as sexual assault, rape, incest, and trafficking, but there are also less obvious offenses such as stalking, cyber harassment, forcing consent on someone, unwanted sexual comments, and many others. For the physical offenses such as assault and rape, they are broken up into 3 levels. Level 1 being an assault that causes little to no physical harm. Level 2, assault that involves a weapon, threat, or bodily harm. And then Level 3, assault that involves physical wounds, disfigurement, or threatens the life of the survivor. Like I mentioned before, the topic of sexual violence has recently made headlines in the media due to high-profile cases involving celebrities and people of power, so I believe everybody is aware of the severity of the topic, but I don't believe enough people actually understand how huge the numbers are on how many women are victims of sexual violence. To start off, let's look at the terrifyingly high statistic of how many women globally have experienced some form of sexual violence in their life. 1 in 3. 1 in 3 women have been subjected to one or more forms of sexual violence. Doesn't that make you sick that a third of our world's entire female population has been subjected to such appalling things? That a third of females had the power over their body, the empowerment of their sexuality, their innocence taken away from them? And to make things worse, this only includes women above the age of 18. 1 in 9 girls under the age of 18 experience some form of sexual abuse or sexual assault. Females under the age of 18 are 4 times more likely than the general population to be victims of rape, attempted rape, or sexual assault. Something happened quite recently that made me want to do a project on this topic, and that was the events that took place at Western University in London, Ontario. Just over an hour and a half away, over 30 female students came forward to report how they were drugged and assaulted during their first week on campus. And those were just the girls who spoke out. There's estimated to be many more. And this isn't just a one-off incident. 1 in 7 female students have said during their time on campus they have been victims of sexual assault. That's approximately 197,000 girls, and that's just in the US alone. You may be thinking, well, if this is such a big problem, why don't more women speak out? Or, well, it's the victim's fault. They put themselves in that situation. Did you see what they were wearing? If you are one of the people who are thinking this, I have done a lot of research and I have come up with your answer. You can go f yourself because you are part of the problem. There are many circumstantial reasons why one wouldn't report their assault. Since it is such a traumatic experience, a lot of victims try to avoid thinking, remembering, or talking about it, as it brings back the pain and trauma. Some victims don't want to report it as they feel ashamed. Sexual trauma is associated with a high degree of stigma in our society. A lot of victims are embarrassed for others to know they've experienced sexual violence. One of the main reasons why a lot of victims don't report their assault is due to the fear of people not believing them or taking the side of their attacker. To go along with this, it is also a big fear for the victim that the situation would turn on its head and they would be the ones getting blamed. Well, just go to the police. It's not like the justice system has ever failed anyone before. Ironically, the justice system is one of the main factors in not giving victims justice in their case. There is little chance of an attacker being held accountable, especially if they're privileged. Time and time again, women have described how traumatic navigating this system can be. Repeatedly, victim survivors have described instances of inadequate communication from officials, concerns for their personal safety, and perceptions of the system being weighed in favor of the accused. The majority of rapes and sexual assaults are not reported to authorities, as the legal process can be both very lengthy and horrifying. However, systematic failures to reporting victims are at the heart of such low confidence in the current system, as it is constantly letting down victims and leaving them feeling more defeated and alone. To conclude this discussion, I think it's important to talk about how we as individuals can help sexual violence victims. Oftentimes, the best thing you can do is just make yourself available. It's also important to actively listen to what they have to say when they want to talk. Strive to be supportive and non-judgmental and assure them that you believe them. It's also important to remind your loved one that what happened was not their fault and they did not do anything to deserve what happened to them. Unfortunately, we can't control the actions of other people. Therefore, there is no concrete way to prevent an assault from happening. But if you see someone harassing or being abusive towards a woman, doesn't matter if that's your lifelong friend, a family member, a coworker, a boss, anybody, you need to stop them immediately and help remove the victim from the situation. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope you enjoyed and learned a little more on sexual violence. Thank you.